Like, do you have a crush on me? Because I think I have a crush on you every couple of weeks. I find out something new about you that makes me love you in a different and deeper way. They're just such a beautiful person and their brain is insane.
This relationship feels just a lot more powerful, a lot more fulfilling.
Being trans, we've had to deal with so much learning about ourselves. We have more expansive language, understanding, and unlearning that cis people probably don't ever have to do. Would recommend.
Would recommend. It's great. My name is Eternity Clark. I am 31 years old. I am a Black trans femme. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns.
I am Derek Gaskill. I'm 32. I'm a white trans man, he, him pronouns, and we've been together going on 7 years.
How did you start your relationship?
Everyone thinks we met on one of, the apps.
The apps, TM.
We were 100% a mistake.
Happy accident.
Absolutely not planned or imagined at all.
We were coming out of a space that was just like, Black and brown queer only, and then you met up with your friend after we were leaving. And I was like, who is this person? Who is this white boy coming here? Our first introduction was a little like,
rocky.
What are we doing? Why are we hanging out together? And then it just got kind of flirtier and flirtier from there, at least on my end. I was laying it on thick. And from there, we sort of were friends with benefits.
It was really a slow burn for a while. I was in another relationship that was open and everyone knew about each other, but really not thinking that this was going to be something that happened. But then a couple dates went on a year. I think we both didn't realize how much we meant to each other until we had a little bit of a conflict over something. And then we went out one more time with each other and I accidentally said, I love you. And did not expect you to say it back.
I was like, oh no. I really like him. Those walls that I had really softened. We just had a really mature and amazing conversation about boundaries, what we wanted, how we were feeling about each other, learning and holding my experience, holding each other's experience and growing. And especially as a Black trans person, having a lot of those really deep conversations about race dynamics, race and gender dynamics were really important conversations to have, especially early on, especially before love could bloom for me. Derek saying I love you that night of the 28th of October illuminated for me. I was like, oh, this is love, and this feels fundamentally different than what I thought to be love. I have just kind of been barring myself from really feeling it super deeply. So it was in that moment where I was like, oh, oh no. And then I was like, I love you. And then I think I wrapped myself around your head.
Yeah. Like the rest of our relationship really caught me off guard. You continue to make me fall in love with you in different ways. They're just such a beautiful person and their brain is insane and great. The other day we were talking about crushes and I think I couldn't, I kept harping on you. I was like, do you have a crush on me? Because I think I have a crush on you every couple of weeks. I find out something new about you that makes me love you in a different and deeper way. Being together 7 years is definitely your longest relationship.
It's true.
And became my longest relationship. I have a tendency to be in longer relationships than you've been in.
Yeah.
When we met, we were in grad school, running around, learning about ourselves. You had just moved to New York, moving in together during quarantine, and being excited to just have a reason to spend so much time together and really get to know how to live with each other. When we had been living together and then Eternity started to go out without me to the store, to go see a friend, anything, I would get really worried about your safety. Having walked around with you and hearing so much verbal harassment, people generally weren't violent towards you if I was around, but you walking around on your own, especially, at night, constantly being like, take a car. You learning how to communicate with me and checking about where you are in the night, checking when you're going to come home, not in an overbearing way, but just in a, I need to know that you're safe, I think was huge for us and learning how to live together.
A really big part of our maybe first couple years together was a lot of the unlearning of the previously held patterns that we had. We don't argue at all. We don't have arguments in the way that maybe we both knew them to be in the past, which were sort of a lot more like pointed, boisterous, and like aggressive on my sort of end in my relationship history. I think in the beginning we're like, ooh, okay, so we're not fighting. So what are we doing? We've been able to really hold a lot of tension together, navigate these conversations that are tense and hard, but in a way that's not falling back into my old patterns of being like, I don't need this, goodbye. And your old patterns of like having a a yell.
I do love a yell. I love a tantrum. We've been through so many different jobs and life and losses together. Learning how to show up for each other, I think, has been the coolest thing about being with someone for 7 years.
Right.
What do you admire about each other?
I really admire your ability to maintain and sort of feed and hold connections with people. You have friends that have known you since you were in kindergarten. There's just like something really, really powerful in how you keep genuine, beautiful, full relationships with people as somebody who was very prone to cutting people off because I was scared and needed to be safe.
I admire so much your commitment to yourself. Not every trans person has to come out. You can stay in the closet. The closet was an option. And for many reasons, it seems like the safer option. But you show up as your full self and face the world every single day. To know you and to understand that it's actually more violent to yourself to not show up as your full self is really incredible. And to know your commitment to being yourself in the world despite everything in the world is so admirable. And you look so good doing it.
With this relationship and that feeling of like limitlessness.
Yeah. It's interesting the way that our transness shows up so different for both of us. As a trans man who transitioned very young, a lot of expectations were put on me to meet traditional heteronormative expectations of what a man is, and carrying that for a very long time as well. There is no script for what we're doing. There is no preset expectation. There's no examples really even to look at. So to be building our life just because it's the way that we want to is really fun. It's not something I expected in my life.
Yeah. I believed myself to be no good for some time. And what the model of goodness was not trans, was not interracial. That was really important for me to unpack. I was born and raised in a really rural town, very homophobic, very transphobic, very racist. I have, especially, before my previous therapist, dealing with like really severe depression, obviously based in my upbringing. So having somebody there who saw that and saw me at that really tough state, especially thinking about when it would be triggered by the state of the world, when it would be triggered by street harassment that I would be dealing with. It was really, really, really nice and meant a lot to have somebody where I could literally go home and just scream about the world, or kind of hold me when I felt really scared or alone, or like I didn't deserve to be here anymore. Ooh, gonna cry. That was really meaningful to me in our love.
A big fear of a lot of trans people is that if they come out, if they transition, that no one will love them.
All of the girls who were like in those spaces where, they are transitioning, they're thinking about what they want their bodies to look like, how they want to continue to move through the world, that love is there for you at any stage of that. I'm not seeking passing as somebody who doesn't really have plans to medically transition, to show up in spaces and in love and fully cared for, respected, seen by someone.
What does the idea of getting old mean to each of you? And as a couple?
I was never expecting myself to be older than 13. Being in therapy and being in love, I think so much more warmly about aging now. Every moment that passes, every birthday, I love it. It makes me even more excited and happy when I think about growing older with you. It feels safe.
I feel sort of a dichotomy of getting older. I think of all the amazing things we're going to experience and everything that is ahead of us, getting a backyard and a big dog, and there's so many more dates, so many more looks in our future. Thinking about how many of our friends are young and still unstably employed and unstably housed. You know, where are these people going to go? How can we sort of fortify our community? Where are people going to work when they can't be on stages, when they can't be drag queens anymore, particularly of trans people who can't enter systems in the same way as cis straight people can? Like, where are we going to go? We have no social safety net. One of our biggest values is like keeping our community safe and building ourselves in ways that we can to sustain and care for our community.
Yeah. What are the possibilities for, creating those networks for our community, for the folks that we really care about? I am always really amazed and hopeful in queer folks, trans folks' ability to find avenues of care for each other.
In addition to she's beautiful and smart and nice and empathetic and cares for me so much, I think it's also the world that we're building together and what is possible in our world, what love looks like, what community looks like, what family looks like.
It's so soft and you're so caring and we work so well together. This can actually be something that is forever.
If we were to have a wedding one day, just how many people would, not just people, but how many deep relationships would show up there.
We're in this really fun era of our relationship where it's like super communicative, super open, especially super stable.
We're really making the world that we want to be in, and a world where we are loved as a couple and supported.